Alright guys, how's it going again? I changed up the deck a little bit, so let's see how it runs since earlier. I love Tikaboo, but it is mainly a going first card. And I'd rather have board breakers instead in case I go second. Because this deck can go second really easily, especially with the Bastiles and stuff. It can just break boards like crazy. Alright, let's see, shuffle it up. I'll do a second test hand going second, and then test hand's going first. We'll change it up from last time. We went first last time, and now we'll go second this time around. My desk is a mess. Alrighty, let's go ahead and draw 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's a lot of monsters. So special. And then if they have anything engraved, we'll Magnum it. Magma end phase effect. We'll go ahead and normal summon Gazelle. Gazelle effect. Berfomet. Right here, I would go ahead and do actually don't even normal summon that yet. So let's put that back because we have the Gazelle in hand. So we will go ahead and Chimera Fusion. Fuse using these. I'm going to use this effect. I should have used that effect first. Okay. There we go. Using 2 in hand and 1 on the field. Two in hand and 1 on the field. For Guardian Chimera. We'll pop 1, draw 2, and so it'll be chain 1, chain 2. Gazelle. Gazelle will get us Codal. And then we will pop 1, draw 2. Oh my god. So good. Alright. And we drew into a Branded Fusion, which is nice. So we already popped 2, or popped 1, drew 2. So now we have an even normal summon. So normal summon effect. Get Berfomet effect. Get this. And this. So then we can fire this. Fuse using these 2. 4. This chain 1, chain 2, chain 3. Oh no, we already used the Gazelle, so chain 1, chain 2. And then effect to add back. And then we'll go ahead and Branded Fusion. Fuse using. I teched in a Lubellion. You can either do Lubellion or Cartesian this way. I put Lubellion in case I get a Druid's Worm on board. I can just tribute off the Druid's Worm to start out with, get Lubellion out, and then I've already popped their monster. If I get a Berfomet in hand, I can just tribute over the Lubellion, so it's kind of a nice interaction. So at this point, I would go, let's do Fallen of Albaz, and we'll do Blazing Cortesia just because. For the Sanctifier Dragon, I'm running him. A lot of people aren't running him, but I like running him for the simple fact I can bring back Fallen of Albaz anytime I want to your board, and then just set these two, attempt to destroy their board, and then if they're still alive, we have the crackback with imperms, and then we have this as well, and then follow up. So we would get Magnuma end phase effect to get Druis Worm. So Magnamut effect. Get Druis Worm in the end phase. And then end turn. During their draw, we use Mirror Sword Knight effect to get the other Berfomet effect. Deck thinning at this point. Get this, and we pretty much have everything in rotation now. I think we already blew through all of our gazelles. Yeah, so we'll just get the Chimera Fusion. Because then we can do Sanctifier effect. Summon. Well, these are kind of good for them to have, which I don't want. We'll just give them the least valuable, which is Gazelle. We'll special Gazelle to their side. And then Albaz to our side, because either way we can use their Gazelle. So the Gazelle goes to their side. And then we will use Fallen of Albaz effect. I would just put the Quaddle and Grey fuse using these two, the Gazelle and the Fallen. And then you get another interruption with the Rembrum. So look at this board we have. And we can still even go further. Let's say we imperm their stuff. We can negate something and bounce. So in that point, I would try and free something up to bounce this. Because we already have the Chimera Fusion Grave. And we already used this effect. So that's nice. Just so I can get this out on board in case they have anything. And then I can just Chimera Fuse away using 1, 2. Well, first things first. Let's say they try and activate more stuff. We've already negated 1. Let's negate 2, 3 things. And then pretty much at that point, they're going to be struggling. And you Chimera Fusion fuse using these 3. So pop 2, draw 1, and then Druis Worm would have popped a monster as well. Or vice versa, you could have done 2 and 1, depending on what your opponent had. And then we even get Gazelle's effect if we want to. To add something just to deck them some more, we'll add a Quotal. And then pretty much there, they should have probably ended their turn by now. So, because then Fenrir would have banished something as well, draw for turn, and then we get another Branded Fusion, which is already overkill. We don't really need Branded Fusion. All right, so let's shuffle it up and go second again. See if we get any more of our going second. See, that was pretty decent. You could play through quite a bit, especially if you have like that Druis Worm and Lubellion combo first. You can attempt to threaten one of their monsters first, where if they have a Bestial Dispatter or a Baron, then you have to force out either the Dispatter or the Baron, so then you just have to worry about the other one. And then if they have any back row. That's why I like the Bastiles in this, because the Bastiles put in work. Yes, they only hit light and dark monsters, but that can help out. Let's go second again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alrighty, draw for turn 6. So standby main phase. We'll go ahead and special Fenrir. And then Super Poly. Let's say they have a Rescue Ace board or something. We'll use 2 of their monsters. For the boy, Garura. And then we will discard the Lubellion for his effect to get Druis Worm. I like going Druis Worm first so I can get one out of the deck and then get a Megamon Search the other one later. And then we will go ahead and discard this to get the... I'm just going to go straight to it. Go Big Wing Baphomet. I could go Mirror Sword Knight, but in case I have anything, I'm going to tribute this off so I can get the extra draw effect. Let's say they stop at Garura effect. Okay. We'll go Fusion Deployment since we drew it off the top. Get Cartesia. Wherever she is, special Cartesia. And then I still haven't used Fenrir's effect, so Fenrir effect. Get the last copy of Fenrir out of my deck. We'll go ahead and use Blazing Cartesia effect. Fuse using her and Baphomet. 4. Granganol effect. We will dump. We will dump an Albion just to have the Branded Fusion as follow-up. So then I could special this by banishing Karura. Nice little interaction there. And then we'll use Lubellion effect. Let's say they still have one more monster possibly. And I like how I put my extra deck in the graveyard. Yeah. We could say they have one more monster. Tribute. Special, get rid of their monster. And then that would be 5,674 right there. And then in phase, we will get Albion effect. And Cartesia effect. So we'll get Cartesia back to hand first. So we did 7,400 damage. Broke their board. And they need to go ahead and draw for turn. Let's go ahead and say they attempt to use something. We'll Ash. They summon from the extra deck effect. Or they use a monster, summon a monster. We'll get this. Get a third interruption. Let's say they still are able to break our board. We get a banish also. They destroy all three. We will end our turn with that. Chimera Fusion. Okay, so then we could special Fenrir again, threaten lethal. Then go Branded Fusion, sending Fallen of Albez and Claws. Right here, we're already threatening lethal. So we'll go Effective Claws to get Mirror Sword Knight. And then we're just basically should be winning from there, especially if they don't have any interruptions. That's why I like this deck. Look, I kind of had a lackluster board at the end there, did 7,400 damage, only have to do 600 now. So then, I mean, I can normal summon this effect. If they don't stop any of this, it's pretty much game right here. Because Fenrir is going to banish a monster if they have anything left when it attacks. And then I'm using this effect to get this, and then this. Where is it? Perfumet. So then I'm going to be able to rip a card during the end phase as well. And then effect to special this. See, we already have lethal right here, even with this end phase. And then we add the Chimera Fusion back. And then go Fenrir's already. We can enter battle. Attack. Should be game already. Attack. If it's not game, we can go main phase 2. This, fuse the Fenrir and this. No. The Fenrir and this. And the Blazing Cartesia. If they have anything left, which I doubt they would, pop 2, draw 1. I mean, alright. And then set, pass. And we still have a Magnum the Reliever effect. Because we could do this. Well, first, I would have probably negated stuff. This would have came back to my... No, that wouldn't have came back to my hand. So we could have banished Mirror Sword Knight and Kodal if they had any sort of targeting effects and regular monster effects. Should have been game already, but I'm just going to keep going just to show you what this deck does and can do. Because it's freaking crazy. So Magnum the Reliever, and then even Magnum gets you an interrupt by banishing a fusion spell. I want to get rid of my Chimera Fusions or my Branded Fusion, so I'm going to use Fusion Deployment to pop. And then draw for turn, we draw another Super Poly. Magnum's effect to help us get fodder for Super Poly. We can do this. Or no, not that. Because keep that grave just in case we can shuffle back a Branded Fusion and draw 1. And then Chimera Fusion with a excuse me, back to hand. So then we still have more follow-up. And then should be game. Do you see how this deck can go out of control really fast? I like the Bistials and everything. I know I've talked to people that say they don't like the Bistials. But I think the Bistials is giving me a body. Puts in lots of work. All right, we'll do one more hand where we go first. And see what we can do. I know the Fenrirs feel like they clash a little bit with the Bistials, but you can see what's it, right? Like, you don't have to use the Bistials right away. you can save them if you want to. It all depends on your situation. I would prefer to have a Fenrir out just to threaten the board because, I mean, Fenrir is basically a boss monster on his own. All right, let's check it out. All right, draw 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Not a bad hand, not a bad hand at all. So we will special the Fenrir, activate his effect. 90% of the time this has went through for me, so nobody's really interacted with Fenrir unless they think I'm playing cash, but almost everybody's playing Fenrir, so they normally let it go through. So here I would go ahead and attempt a branded fusion to bait out an ash. More than likely they have the ash, so we'll send that to grave. And this is where I tribute off for Perfumet effect. So they've already used one card. So then we will go here and fuse using these two. So we're going to rip a card during the end phase, so there'll be 2 less cards. So they'll have 3 cards in the hand instead of 4. So it'll be chain 2, and then chain 1 will be Gazelle. Gazelle will add back. Here I would get a Mirror Sword Knight because I can discard it with Super Poly. Since I own this, it gives me a negate as well, which I kind of appreciate and like because I'm getting 2 for 1. Not am I only blowing up their board, but then I'm also getting a monster negate, which is nice. Or I could save it in my hand and just discard the Fenrir, either one. So set that, and then set Chimera Fusion during the end phase as well. So even with Branded Fusion not going off, the board seems kind of lackluster, but I do have follow-up. So let's say they summon their 2 monsters, Super Poly. At this point, I want to keep the follow-up, so I think I'm going to do it that way. Get rid of the Fenrir. Let's just say it's Garura. So I blew up their board. They're still going to attempt a combo. So we can do is go Ash. We stopped them right there. Then we can go Chimera Fuse. Fuse using Garura and Chimera, which is nice. So we've had, what, 2 board wipe, 1 interrupt with Ash. This is the 3rd interrupt, and then Garura effect will draw. Okay, I mean, I guess more follow-up. That's when I wish I discarded the Mirror Sword Knight, but it is what it is. Because then we can go here, even if they get another monster out, go Berfomet effect. So we would have had 3 negates still. And threatening Chimera next turn to Guardian Chimera. Let's just go ahead and say they cleared this Berfomet. And this. And then we'll go ahead and end their turn. Draw. Standby main. Imperm something. Okay, cool. That was a good card to draw off the top. We'll go ahead and do... 'Quotal. 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 'Qu Quodal will get Baphomet. And then, so they had to break our board with 3 or 4 cards because they started with 3, drew 1. So I even doubt they would have gotten rid of the Predaplant, but they would have probably been low on resources. So we could have just Chimera fused here, rip another card during the end phase, and then effect and effect. We will special back. Let's go ahead and special this back. And then do I want to use Gazelle's effect? And at this point it's kind of redundant, but yeah, I guess. There we go, we'll get that. And then we can go ahead and do Chimera Fusion effect. Add itself back. I would Chimera Fuse using 1, 2, 3. So 2 and 1 in hand. 2, 1 in hand, draw. I mean, that's still nice. And then shouldn't just attack. You can go here. Yeah, Cartesia is on the grave in phase 2. Just here. Cartesia, discard Quodal. Quodal effect, get us Mirror Sword Knight. Cartesia effect. Fuse these two. Get this effect. Send this to end phase effect. Ripped 1 out of their hand. And then I get Branded Fusion. I just keep going. At this point, I just keep going. That is crazy how much engine I still have left, even after all that. I went through basically all my Chimera stuff. So they summon, tag out. Both of these monsters are now 3,037. Negated something. We had end phase effect of Granganol. This would have came back. That would have been in my hand already. My bad, guys. Let's just say somehow they're able to break this again. Break this board again somehow. I don't know how they would have by now. Draw for turn. We'll special this because we have so many targets. By now, like, it would have easily been game. And we still have Berfamets and everything follow up. We could have used the Gazelle. And then we could get that if we didn't use the Gazelle. We'll just say we didn't use the Gazelle. And then we will banish Garura just because. Special that. Is there a Lubellion in grave? There is not. Okay. So then we can go Branded Fusion, go Fallen of Albez. It's crazy. I believe I still have both my Fallen of Albez's in deck. Yep. So Fallen of Albez and Lubellion for Albion. Albion effect. Banish Fallen, and there's really nothing we need at this point, so let's just get rid of this. for a Mirror Jade. And then effective Lubellion in the grave. Try and leave them wide open. Get rid of that special. See, so many different routes we could have went if we had something in our hand. Because if we would have had used this, if they had a monster, we could have had this. This would still be engrave, and then effect would get Gazelle and Chimera Fusion. So then this Virtuous could do is go either Guardian Chimera again. It's crazy how many times we can Guardian Chimera. For Guardian Chimera. Pop 2, draw 1. Imperm. At this point, there's no point in going on. You see what I'm talking about. There's just so much gas. So much gas. It's crazy. Alright, guys. Thank you so much. I will let you guys know how the locals go. I think this is the build I'm going to go with. Just because the Bisteels with Lubellion and everything, I don't see anybody playing it. But the Bisteels are a house of cards to deal with nowadays. I think that my opponents really, like last week, I really baited out a lot of stuff with the Bisteels. Because Druid Worm just activates different chain links, especially if I go into Guardian Chimera. My opponent still had his monster destroyed. They sent the Guardian Chimera back to my extra deck, and I was still able to draw 2 and pop 1 because I made the material properly. And then I was just able to recycle Chimera Fusion or Chimera again later on, since that was my second one. And it's just ridiculous because it left them wide open. But thank you guys. Like, subscribe, comment, and you guys have a good day.